So this is our third SmartTake series. It's a webinar series with Klaviyo. And every month we're diving into new features and enhancements being rolled out by Klaviyo. Also new strategies for email, SMS, for e-commerce that your brand can use throughout the year. These strategies will be new, up to date for 2023. As we get into summer, we'll be talking more about summer sales, Black Friday. There's a lot of different topics that we'll be chatting about through the year. So if you want to know the best strategies and have conversations with us, feel free to join us every month. My name is Ryan O'Connor. I'm the Director of Marketing at SmartBug Media. I'm kind of responsible to know all the latest trends and strategies in e-commerce to share with our audience. And in a past life, I actually ran a successful e-commerce brand and also an email and SMS agency. So let's meet our speakers today. So I gave a quick intro myself. We also have Kira from SmartBug and Dan from Klaviyo. I'll let you both give an intro. Kira, do you want to start first?
Yes. Hi, welcome. My name is Kira. I'm the e-commerce product marketing manager here at SmartBug. I've been in e-commerce for about 5 years now. Love Klaviyo, and I'm really excited to talk on retention marketing with you guys today.
Awesome. Glad to have you here, Kira. And Dan, do you want to give everyone an intro for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Dan Caldwell. I'm the team lead for technology partnerships. So all those integrations that feed into Klaviyo, my team manages those. And so a lot of what we talk about today from my lens will be coming from the integration standpoint and intertwining that into your strategies.
Well, let's jump into our first question here. So which should I focus on more? This is an age-old question. And getting increasingly popular. What should I focus on more? Acquisition or retention marketing? Kira, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. I think there's space for both acquisition and retention marketing in your strategy, of course. The real question is, what does that ratio look like when it comes to retention versus your acquisition strategy? To determine this, there's a few data points, some things that you'll need to look at to figure out what will work best for your brand. One of those things is looking at the customer acquisition costs, which recently can be kind of expensive depending on the industry, but I've been seeing recently anything ranging from $50 to $100. So depending on your product and your profit margin and the budget that you have, focusing on retention might be a better effort than focusing on your acquisition. But you'll also want to look at your customer lifetime value. How often are you seeing these repeat purchases from your customers? If you have a customer base and you don't really see them coming back often or for repeat purchases, then this is a good sign that you probably have a leaky bucket. So you can spend all the money you want and try filling it up with more customers. But if there's a hole in the bottom, you're never going to be able to fill it. So this is when, we kind of get to the point of now we really need to focus on retaining those customers and investing in those relationships long-term so that we can keep targeting them correctly and seeing the profit increase over time.
Oh, I love the leaky bucket metaphor. It always perks up my ears. And I know a lot of other marketers and business owners are the same.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Dan?
That's a little bit too. I mean, naturally, hey, you have to continue doing both, but I think there's a lot of attention on retention right now for a good reason. But with retention, I don't think the word retention is the best way to think about it. I always think like retain, keep. And we all know this, we want to thrive with our customers. We want to provide them an amazing experience. So they're not just stick around buying a couple more times, but they become just good customers and eventually become advocates for your brand, which makes retention in the future so much better and so much easier to do. So we could talk about a few strategies later on today on that, but I think really, really good retention creates advocacy for your brand, which ultimately helps on the acquisition side.
They go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
All right, let's jump to the next question here. So what does the full customer journey look like? And why is it important what is it important to understand for retention? You want to kick us off, Dan?
Yeah, I think we have a slide here that kind of demonstrates what the customer journey looks like. And I think the big takeaway is it's all connected. And I think the mistake that I see people make sometimes is when they think about retention, they're just looking at post-purchase. But really good retention starts at the very first visit of the site. And we're not going to break down each stage here, but you see a lot of arrows going both directions. What happens at the end is also going to be related to the beginning and vice versa. So what we're going to be talking about a bit today is not just the post-purchase of retention, but also the entire customer journey and how that leads to a good retention strategy.
Awesome. Well said. I love this graphic. This graphic we Klaviyo put out, I think a few months ago, but I've never seen anything so concise and easy to understand, all fitting in one little square. Love this. Cool. Anything to add, Kara? Or do you want to jump to the next question?
No, I think that just about sums it up.
Awesome. Let's go to our next question here then. So what should happen during the pre-purchase stage? And what are some examples that you could think of?
Well, during the pre-purchase stage, this is generally where your customers are initially having that first contact with your brand. So they're on your website browsing products, and a lot of brands typically try to shy away from asking for too much information right off the bat, which is probably a good strategy to take, because if you're not providing value to them yet, you don't want to just keep asking them for information. However, that doesn't mean there are no opportunities to at least start that relationship building with your customers. So that way you can target them and have better retention strategies down the road throughout the rest of this journey. So a simple one that a lot of brands do would be offering a promo code for something as simple as providing your email or phone number. I know as a consumer, anytime I'm on a website and I see that little pop-up come up of like 20% off, just submit your phone number, I'm always going to jump in and do that, because I know for myself, even if I'm not purchasing right away, I like to have it in the back of my head that I can purchase something if I want to, if I have a little extra, discount off of a product I'm already interested in. And not only that, but it also gives me a better experience on the website while I'm shopping, because again, I'm more inclined thinking, maybe I will buy something. Why not? I have a coupon. So those are, easy ways that we can initiate and start working on our retention strategy during that pre-purchase stage. Another example of this is quiz and surveys. I think we have a slide on this also, but offering some more unique and creative ways that you can collect some of that customer data and start really getting to know that customer by using these different quizzes. So for example, let's say you're a protein powder company. You can create a quiz that will help you understand if they're trying to buy protein powders to gain muscle, to lose weight, to feel more energized, get more vitamins, whatever that is. Once we're able to collect that data, then we can actually target them better with products that are more relevant to them. So even if they don't purchase right away, now we have their email and we have some of their product preferences, so we can improve our conversion rates by recommending the right products. And in all of the other stages, again, we can use this information throughout the rest of the journey. So this is really just kind of laying that groundwork and initiating that relationship that you're going to have with your customer, hopefully for a long time.
Exactly, because it helps on the conversion rate optimization when you know, hey, why are they buying your product? What are they here for? But it helps on the retention side as well, because now we know, why are they engaging with your brand? The example that we have up here, we're asking how they plan on wearing the apparel. Are they going to the spa? Is it for yoga? And if somebody chooses yoga, now we know, hey, for other products that we're going to show, it's going to be yoga based to drive the CRO. But then later on, when we're setting product recommendations for an upsell, it's going to be yoga based in terms of the images that we want to use in that email. It's the yoga versus the spa person. We'll showcase the products being used in the spa. So a lot of different use cases on that. There's other questions too they could put in here that aren't just product specific. So like understanding, hey, are you the consumer of this product, or are you giving a gift? And if you know this person is buying a gift for somebody else, you want to market to them very differently than if they're the consumer of the product. You want to showcase your gift boxes that you may have, or highlight why it makes such a great gift versus a consumer. You can have a different message there. So there's a ton that you can pack in from these quizzes and surveys. The last thing I'd also mention too, we talked about some discounting, and I really think that the discounting to get that email and SMS to really start that relationship is big. But if you're doing things like cart abandonment and trying to drive that home and you're a little bit worrisome about discounting, like think about some more creative options. I think there's some really good newer options like Shopping Gives is a good platform that helps offer money to charity, and that user can then go ahead and select one of their favorite charities to use, or you could plant 10 trees in their name as a form of a discount without actually discounting your product. But what's nice about that is, hey, that's another way that we can drive higher conversion rates. But at the same time, now we know, hey, if this person selected this charity, they would want to know messages on, hey, the amount of money that we've given to that charity, any updates on that charity post-purchase, and just keeping them engaged with your brand. And for those messages, because not every message needs to be a sale. And so just letting them know, like, hey, we're continuing working with the charity and grow with the charity that they like, is just going to help your relationship with the consumer.
Yeah, I love that. And I really love the brands that are using quizzes as well, because, you know, thinking not only from the brand perspective, being able to collect this data and personalize the journey, this also can, thinking from the consumer's perspective, quizzes often help, right? If a brand has different types of customers, or as their SKUs start to grow and they're marketing different products to their different customer types, it can get kind of confusing for a customer to land on a website or to know where to go for the new releases that are relevant to them, right? So by gathering this information or allowing customers to go through a quiz journey and then recommending the right products to them during your relationship or their relationship with your brand makes it so much easier. I know another brand that does this too. It's kind of famous for is Jones Road. It's a cosmetics company. They had a famous quiz. It was matching your makeup to your skin color, I think, but since it was so successful, I think they've built like 6 or 7 quizzes now that they use during all different parts of the funnel, and their customers love it. Cool. Well, let's go on to our next question here. So what should happen immediately after the purchase? And immediately after the purchase, we're talking about after a customer makes a purchase between then and when they receive the product. And can we think of any examples of strategies?
Yeah, I think a huge one is on the shipping side of things. And I mean, that is such a huge part of their journey with your brand, and whether it goes good or bad. And so making sure that we're keeping our customers updated. And we have some examples from Wonderman, who's a fantastic partner of Klaviyo with a great integration. And you can see there with the email that lets them know that the order has shipped and can send them to a landing page to keep them updated. We see extremely good performance with these. And I think a lot of people think about it as transactional, which it is. And hey, from the customer journey perspective, we want to keep people updated on there. It's reassuring for them. If something does go haywire, I think everybody in this world is used to delays in the shipping process. Right now, we just don't like surprises. We want to know about it proactively, so keeping people engaged there, but then also notifying about the fun stuff. Hey, it's in transit, it's on its way, or hey, it's on your doorstep, go grab it. It's really nice if you have like a perishable item and you need to know about that. Or hey, if you live in an area to where you know are a little bit worried about somebody else grabbing it off your doorstep, you can go ahead and give those consumers a heads up that it's on there. And I'd say SMS is a huge one here. For anybody not using Klaviyo SMS or whoever you're using for SMS, send these in SMS. There's actually, we've done surveys. Majority of people want this with SMS. I know there's different thoughts on the right strategies for SMS and those type of things. People want this, including myself. I don't want this sitting in my inbox for a few hours and not see it. I want to know when it's there in real time. So it's a really good SMS use case where we're using that. So highly encourage it. Then on the next slide, I think the other aspect that's way often overlooked, and so this is a big one, is how much revenue you can drive from this. You see really great click-through rates. I mean, you're seeing like 82% on some of this stuff, huge open rates. People click on these all the time. And on these landing pages that showcase the estimated arrival time, you could have product recommendations on there, other products that they're interested in. And so it's not just a great way to keep your customers engaged and keep them up to date, but also to add a little bit of LTV on the top as well.
Yeah, I think those the landing pages are often overlooked by brands, the shipping tracking landing page. A lot of brands just have, hey, here's your order, here's where it's at. And they don't use that space, that so much traffic going to that page to kind of delight customers, or like you said, recommend other products to drive upsells.
So much traffic that goes to those pages, and like, God forbid you get that to FedEx.com, but then also make sure if it's on your website, make sure it's really, really good. There's a lot of traffic on those pages, so there's an opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think, Dan, you touched on a great point there too, that like, during this process, and this was something we talked about on our February SmartTake as well, but during this period of purchasing the product and waiting to receive the product, this customer is so much more inclined to opening your messages, opening your emails, paying attention to your brand, because they're excited. They just ordered this product. They're waiting for it to arrive. So the likelihood of them actually opening and seeing what you're communicating to them is so much higher than at any other point during this process. So again, having these messages that go out, giving them updates on their order, even sending them a thank you after they purchase, drumming up excitement for the product. So maybe this is sending them a recipe for a protein shake with the protein powder that they just purchased. Things like that to, again, just keep up the momentum and keep up the excitement. Because if you give them a positive experience during the initial buying process, they're going to remember that. And when they need to re-up on their protein powder, they're more likely to come back to your brand as opposed to a competitor.
Yeah, I love the tip to be sending helpful content or useful or educational content while customers are waiting for products. I know what we've done a lot in the past is actually the campaigns that we've sent in the past that have performed well with customers that are educational or fun. Those are great to pull into a customer series, a new customer series, or repeat customer series, or shipping series, whatever it be, about the product that they're about to receive. If you do have that content or you want to make that content, it's a great tip. All right, let's go to our next question here. So Dan, Kira, what should happen during the post-purchase stage? And this would be any time after purchase, building all the way up to these loyal customers and growing retention. And do we have any examples of strategies?
Yeah, so this is probably one of my favorite stages, because this is where you're really able to nurture those customers. I know Dan already said this before, but it's important to not make every messaging that you send to them a hard sell. So again, we're building a community where we're making them feel a part of something and trying to deliver them value. So you don't want to just send like 50 emails to them just trying to get them to buy a product. So kind of going back to what we just said, sending them content around the product, around using the product, or just, kind of ideas in general that relate to what it is they're buying from you. And most importantly, using the insights that we've gathered, the data that we've gathered throughout the journey so far to help segment them and personalize our messaging. So again, we know that they're interested in protein powders for muscle building. So we're going to start sending them products specifically for building muscle and getting gains, as opposed to ones for weight loss or something like that. So the main point of all of this is to use the data that you're gathering and really personalize the messaging that you're sending to them, whether that be educational or, more entertaining content, or whether that be a product recommendation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another, often overlooked aspect of these strategies is really being mindful of the customer journey to get to this point. And it's, hey, a lot of customers everything's going to go smoothly, but like going back to the shipping example, if they had something that was delayed 5 times, or hey, they returned the item, something went wrong, they're having issues with customer support, something like that, we want to be really mindful of that. Because if we try to grow and prosper and check out these other products and invite them to our loyalty campaign, all those types of things, when, hey, they actually didn't have the best experience, it's just not going to be a good situation. You're probably not going to be able to grow that customer, as opposed to you win them back and you can acknowledge some of the bumps in the road. I think on the next slide, we're talking about an example here. And so this is one for if you're asking for a product review. And so we can use this for inviting to your loyalty program or referral program. Name your strategy on post-purchase, but we use product review request for this example. But hey, we're not just going to send this request 2 weeks after we see that they purchased on Shopify and use that event. But within Klaviyo, we're going to be able to see with our integration with Wonderment that the product was actually delivered. It's in their hands. We know that because the number one issue with one-star reviews is the item was late. And oftentimes these review requests come before the product even arrives. So we're going to make sure that the product has arrived. We're also going to make sure they haven't already left a review with an integration with a platform like Akendo. We're going to be able to see with the Wonderment data, hey, do they have more than one shipping delay? Let's filter those folks out. With loop returns, hey, they returned the item, they're unhappy with it. We're filtering those folks out. Or the integration with help desk, like Gorgeous, and they got something, they're talking with customer support right now, they're working through something. Now's not probably the right time to follow up on this message. So all of these data points that we bring in on the Klaviyo side with these integrations can not just trigger the message, but help to filter out. So, hey, we're only sending people the product review request or the loyalty invite to those who we think have a pretty good experience so far. We want to double down on that. And then anybody that gets caught up in these filters, let's do a win back campaign. Let's have a different message to them. Let's try to nurture them back to being really happy customers.
I love it. There's nothing worse than getting a review request when something bad is going on. You're worried about the delivery, or you're talking with customer support. Yeah, so important to use all that data we're collecting. Actually, I gave this example before on one of our last webinars, but it frustrated me so much. I love to bring it up. There's a brand I love. It's called Faherty brand. It's like a lot of kind of like beachwear, or also for winter and summer. But I only shop their summer wear, their linens, and I've only ever bought linen from them. And they've even asked me questions about the linen. And then I get product recommendations for non-linen items, for winter items that I never buy. And it's so frustrating. I love the brand so much, I still buy with them, but I wish I would probably buy more if they had that on point. Cool. Well, let's go. I think we have one more question. All right. So how do I leverage more after post-purchase? And how can I find, we talk about brand advocates all the time. How can I find my brand advocates and really make sure I'm marketing to them?
Yeah, this again, always going to go back to practicing segmentation and personalization to make sure you're understanding your customers and knowing who can be an advocate for what. Kind of just going back to that protein powder reference again, you might have different brand advocates for people that are using it for muscle building, or people, again, that are using it for weight loss. So there's going to be different segmentations of your customers. So identifying that is a great place to start. But a couple of ideas and opportunities that you can use. Two of my favorite ones. First one is UGC, which is user generated content. And I think we have a slide on this too, kind of showing, if you're not familiar with what UGC content is, basically it is content created by your customers featuring your brand or your products. So different than influencer marketing. This is literally just a piece of content, whether it be a TikTok video or a picture, like this cute TikTok video here. And it's content that you can use in your own marketing, either on social or in this case, an email campaign. And really what this does is help create that community feeling and help your customers feel more engaged with your brand and feel like they're a part of something a little bit bigger. I know a lot of great brands that do things like this, and it's always kind of fun to see what your customers are saying back. And it also helps you, tailor your messaging for them a bit better as well. Another example of how you can do this is with loyalty programs. I'm sure most of you are familiar with loyalty programs. These are so fun because you can, again, customize it to your brand, your products, and your customers. And it's a lot more fun for your customers to engage. Yes, they're maybe having to purchase things to get points, but they're purchasing products that they love already in order to get benefits to get more of those products. So as long as you, again, are tailoring it to your customers, specifically understanding how they engage with these programs, these can be some really great strategies that you utilize that will help you see not just customer retention, but also, again, that brand advocacy, which will eventually result in customer acquisition as well.
Yeah, and I think on the similar realm, on the influencer front, I think there's been some really interesting progress here. I know it's a hot topic right now on influencer, and a little bit controversial too. I think that people really want authentic advocacy with influencer. And so I talk about Gatsby quite a bit. I don't get paid to talk about them, but really good integration, fantastic platform. And I think it really captures what's valuable with influencer marketing. And so they're not trying to help you get Kim Kardashian to post about your purse. And they're trying to find those micro influencers, those people, the advocacy or advocates who we keep talking about, incentivizing them to post on their social because they love your products. And hey, they're not celebrities, they don't have millions of followers, but they still drive you some sales. And yeah, it's difficult to have a one-to-one relationship with them and do so profitably, but that's where this integration comes in. It's actually pretty cool. So Gatsby sends in events. For example, if somebody has posted about your brand with your right hashtag. So now we can trigger an SMS message or an email message on the Klaviyo side of things, thanking them for it. Hey, thanks for that post. That's awesome. Here's your 1,000 points towards your next purchase. And that type of stuff is really powerful. And there's a bunch of different use cases. If you go to the website, they list them all out, but they're going to send in, hey, how many followers do they have? So if this is a huge like celebrity that comes through your door, you're notified about it. You could have that one-to-one relationship, but you could really set up a scaled influencer management platform completely with Klaviyo when you're combining a platform like Gatsby. And I just like these because these are your authentic customers. They're typically not doing it for the money. It's a nice little cherry on top of what they would probably do, to get them to actually do that post. But it's authentic. It's true. They're not doing this for a living.
Yeah, Gatsby is absolutely amazing. I highly recommend and anyone watching check it out. And there's some good pre-built Klaviyo flows too to make it easier to get started with Gatsby because there is a lot you can do with it. Awesome. I think that is all. So and we have about 15 minutes left here. So we can open it up to any questions that anyone has for us. Let's see here, got a couple. And if you do have any questions, you could drop them in the Q&A or the chat. So let's go through these. Got a couple right now, I'll go through them. So first one, how can Klaviyo integrations improve acquisition costs?
Yeah, I could take that one. It's actually been a big investment on Klaviyo recently to connect into ad tech platforms. So we refreshed our Facebook integration. We launched the Google integration. Criteo just built an integration into Klaviyo. AdRule is building one. And so there's a lot of new options there. So basically the use case there is, hey, all the segments that you're creating within Klaviyo can get pushed into these platforms. And you could basically do two things with that. You can help build targeted strategies. And so let's say you have a subscription program. And so you have your monthly box that goes out, and that is gold. If you get a customer on that, you can create a segment within Klaviyo of somebody who's purchased an item more than 2 times, but hasn't signed up to be a subscriber. Ideal person to end up getting on your subscription program, or even just somebody who has purchased from you in the past and may not have seen the 20% that they can be saving if they sign up to get the product every month. And so you can push those segments into a Google, Facebook, Criteo, and then serve display ads all across the web highlighting, hey, become a subscriber and save 20%, or whatever the incentive is to be a subscriber. You can call those out. The other way too is a filtering mechanism. And so if you have somebody who, hey, you feel confident on, they're already a subscriber, and so you're not worried about serving them display ads to get them to come back and buy again, send that segment into these platforms, exclude them from a campaign, save a little bit on your CPM and ad cost with those who we feel like we're marketing through other means as well.
Love that. Cool. Let's go to the next one. So what are some other lesser known retention strategies that many brands don't capitalize on?
Yeah. Oh, go for it.
I can answer a little bit and then pass back over to you, Dan. Just initially the first thing that came to mind, and this is a lesser known, but also a really easy strategy to set up. And we did a whole SmartTake on this. So if you haven't seen it already, I'd recommend going back and watching it. But this is talking about creating shoppable moments. And really the high level of this is taking the data points and the information that you know about your customers, segmenting them into specific campaigns. So that way you can target them for their own little shoppable moments, not necessarily big events like Cyber Monday, Black Friday, but maybe it's a anniversary and you want to be able to remind them to send flowers to their spouse on their anniversary, or National Pet Day, sending an email to try to get them to purchase your product around National Pet Day, things like that that resonate with your brand, that are easy to set up and automate. So that way, kind of in the background, you're able to keep that momentum going, keep that conversation going, and keep those customers retained in the long run. I think a lot of the other strategies we've talked about also just are a good baseline that we can kind of elevate a little bit more. So looking at loyalty programs, for example, there are plenty of different ways to do loyalty programs. There's even subscription-based loyalty programs where you can get additional offers, additional value add to subscribing. I think Sephora does different things like that where you can purchase tiers. So there's a lot of different options that you can use to elevate some of these strategies so they can be, even more effective than they would be on their own. But what you got, Dan?
Yeah, I love those. I would say one that's really lesser known is on the Klaviyo side is direct mail. And I think that's kind of the old school marketing tactic. And I think a lot of people are thinking Klaviyo more the marketing automation, newer school stuff, but we're able to combine them now. So we have partnerships with folks like Postpilot. Ignite Post would be another one. And you're basically able to use the power we have in Klaviyo on the segmentation, just like you would use to send an email or an SMS. You can send a postcard, or Ignite Post has these really cool machines that make it look like you're doing a handwritten note. So if you want to thank somebody after they purchase something, you can go ahead and trigger that within a Klaviyo flow. We have webhooks that will allow you to do that. And then you can also build this into segments. But I think it's a really cool opportunity to get something in a non-digital form, but with that power and the automation that Klaviyo has, and to just combine it with another platform.
It's really cool. It's a great opportunity, especially with VIP customers, to start sending them, they already love your brand, start sending them special postcards or gifts, or a special coupon only for them, but send it via mail. So it's more tangible. It stands out. All right, let's check. We got 2 more questions here. What are the most common missed opportunities? Wait, did we already go through that? No. What are the most common missed opportunities with Klaviyo?
Yeah, I could kick that one off. I don't mean to over talk about shipping, but in Q1, I talked to a lot of our customers, and I am just shocked with how few have a robust strategy around that, given the engagement rate and some of the numbers that we showed there. And when I talked about it with the customers, like a lot of light bulbs going off. And then those customers that do have it, and I do talk about, they just talk about it's one of their highest performing flows, and it's a no-brainer for them. And so that's like a big one. If I'm a merchant and I'm not heavily leaned into that area, I would go and do some research on it and check out some of these platforms.
Awesome, thanks, Dan. And then Kim has a good question here. So Kim's been running a subscription box for 8 years, but they just recently switched to Shopify and Klaviyo about 6 months ago. They don't have the budget yet to purchase all of the third-party integrations and plugins. So what's the biggest bang for my buck in the beginning? Upsells, reviews, loyalty programs. She says Klaviyo has been amazing. So excited to use it. So its fullest potential. They're in the food category, but the margins aren't very high profit.
Awesome. Well, glad you're loving it, Kim, and thank you for attending. I would say with a lot of these different categories that we're talking about, there is software out there that is very expensive and robust and powerful. And there's also simpler versions of that out there. And so when we're looking at reviews, there are some platforms that are wildly expensive. But then you get stuff like, I think like Okendo is an amazing value for what you get there in terms of sophistication on a product with, hey, I don't think they're the cheapest solution out there, but at the same time, you're talking bang for your buck. That's fantastic. And Kim, feel free to shoot me a message too if you're looking to kind of evaluate those tech stack. What are those value ones out there? The shipping ones are very, very affordable. If those jump out to you, and I can send over some more personalized recommendations. Dan.Caldwell@Klaviyo.com. Happy to push you in the right direction.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, Kim, also there, a lot of third-party integrations will kind of scale up with you. So depending on your volume of sales and customers, the price, if you pick the right tool, the price will be much lower. And then as you grow, as you get more volume, as you're using the tool more, the price increases. So if you find the right ones, you should be able to get a pretty good tech stack and not have to spend too much to get that in the beginning. Awesome. Well, I think that is it for our questions. I just want to thank everyone for attending our third SmartTake webinar with Klaviyo. We're very grateful. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. And Kira, thank you as well for all of your expertise. We're so grateful that we're able to do these with Klaviyo and bring strategies to you all. So please, we'll have our next SmartTake next month. Feel free to join us. And we will, again, as a reminder, we'll be sending out a recording of this, as well as we have an in-depth guide to retention marketing that we'll send out via email for everyone with different strategies. We built this year, so strategies are up to date, what you can use with different integrations, different tactics to improve your retention. Yeah, and thank you everyone again for joining. We'll see you on the next SmartTake webinar. Take care, everyone.
Thanks all.
Thanks.